welcome back to full time, or should I say warm down, or press conferences, because we're that late. I'm sorry. Partly my fault. Partly it's pre-season. Yeah, we're ironing out some of the little bits for a new season. We do things here as well. You know, we got a lot to sort out, but listen, the player ratings is coming out on the channel very, very soon. Not on the channel, there is one on the channel, Robbie's player ratings, but on the website. Have a look out for that. Download AFTV Plus so you can catch all our content, and give a warm welcome to Sharoy, who was fantastic on the watch along and just said to me, the more that game went on, the more you wanted to win it. Yes, sir.
It's true.
I'm so with you on that.
It's true. I mean, I told you when we saw the lineup, when I saw Havertz up front, I suddenly became a little bit more excited and intrigued about how that was going to work. I then see the first 45, and even though we're under the cosh a little bit in the first 15 or 20, they don't have a shot on target. We then go into the game and we start asserting our philosophy upon Manchester City and create some clear-cut openings. And at that point, the belief within me grew. The belief, I think, within the team grew.
I agree.
And that ultimately translates into the belief to keep yourself in the game even when you're 1-0 down, and get it to 1-0 and give yourself a shot at pens, right? And now that we've won it, I am over the moon. I'm seeing a lot of City fans on Twitter saying, we all know how this ends in May. You know, best of luck, you haven't won the World Cup. That to me shows it's annoying people that we won this, and it shows that people are actually slightly worried, thinking that we had closed the gap on them over the course of a season last year, but we hadn't closed the gap on City as a team. But today I think it shows we have.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, if I'm a City fan, I'm sitting there with my trophies around me,
of course,
with my treble, going, yeah, okay, that's cute, and I get that, but this is what I want too. I want that rivalry. I'm glad Kyle Walker went mad on that goal. I'm glad Pep Guardiola went mad on that goal. I'm glad that the Arsenal players celebrated winning that shootout the way they did, because listen, real success in football is very rare. Think how many clubs don't get to finals, don't play in big competitions, don't lift silverware of some kind. Now, whatever importance you place in the community, that is up to you. But if there are ones the players care about, I'm going to care about it. So I'm just happy they got it done. And by the way, for all of you who say it's not a trophy, I just typed the result into Google and it came up with the fireworks.
There you go. If Google says it, it must be true.
I saw fireworks. That's all I'm saying. So clearly it's a big deal. But what is a big deal is looking really competitive against Man City.
Yeah, and not just looking competitive against them, but also I think it's a big deal for Arteta, because throughout his tenure as the manager, I was actually mentioning it on the watch along, I don't like the ever so slightly patronising relationship that I can see sort of developing the more that Arteta becomes manager. Every time he talks about Pep, quite rightly, he's deferential, but I think it was sort of verging upon, I actually think they're so great that we're going to have a tough time beating them. And that sometimes I worried that translated into the players, and a lot of the compliments that Pep would give Arteta, I thought they were sort of, you know, they were very patronising. Like, I can compliment you because I don't see you as a direct rival.
Yeah.
I think throughout the course of last season that changed a bit, and now Arteta can say, well, in actual fact, look, I know that De Bruyne was on the bench. I know that they had other options, but I would also say that we don't typically play with Kai Havertz in the 9. Right, so that but isn't our strongest fully fit 11 if we're going to play.
Jesus and Zinchenko, I believe, are our two best link players from defence to attack.
There you go.
It's the Jesus who brings it together from the front. It's the Zinni who gets it from the back and link. They are crucial,
and they arguably our two most proven winners. All right, and they weren't on the pitch. But what Arteta showed today is, even though City can look good at the first 15 or 20, he can tactically keep his team in there and change the tide. So it's huge for belief for the players, obviously, but the fact that belief, often it's difficult to figure out what it is, but I personally believe it's top down. I personally believe it's top down, you know. So if you're looking at what breeds success and what breeds winning, I think today is definitely the first step in the right direction.
I agree. So Sam Tressard is super chat asking why we're always late. We explained that. Dave John says, do not sell Tierney for less than 100 million. He's just coming with another one. Thank you for always supporting the channel, Dave, even though I know you hate Kieran Tierney, but that's fine. He says, Jesus, Havertz, Saka will be our best front three. Wow, well, let's see how that develops.
It could be against certain teams. It could be against certain teams where you think you're not going to have much of the ball and you do need a genuine long ball outlet. I think Havertz today proved that he's not the finished article there, but he can do that. And if there's one thing we can say about Arteta, it's he improves players.
Yeah. I didn't think Havertz was going to come in and play in the 9. I thought he'd get minutes in one of the more creative positions. So I actually thought he'd be out on the right, maybe in the 8, but only for certain games. I liked him today. I know he missed chances, and I know when you're in the winning position, it's easy to go, oh, we missed chances. It happens. One in particular wasn't good enough. It's the scuff. It's not that it was saved or cleared off the line. It's the scuff, and that is a bit like, oh, we saw this at Chelsea. The other one, it's a bit behind him. He sort of makes something of it, to be fair. But I liked his link-up play. I liked the way he showed real composure with his back to goal. And, I mean, there are certain players that they just hate playing with their back to goal. Alexis Sanchez was a genius at it.
Yep.
Eden Hazard was a genius at it.
Jesus is very good at it.
Yes. Oh, Jesus is like, yeah. I mean, if you're looking for an example, you'll find a few better. Havertz, I don't think that does come to him naturally. But what he did do was read what was around him well, right touches into right space. He didn't get everything right, but I thought we saw a lot of really encouraging signs from him today as a 9.
Yeah, and he protected the ball. How often do we go long and we really don't? We either don't win the header or we don't recover the second ball. Havertz did that very well. And what I also liked was when he was pressing, it was calculated. He forced them into errors. One of them led to a corner when they were in fact near our halfway line, but he nabs it. And from that corner, we could have created something, right? So that's all you can ask for in this situation where you're dealing with someone who's quite clearly low on confidence in terms of their finishing. Today, I describe Havertz as everything but the goal.
Yeah.
And look, the longer that persists, the more this is going to be a conversation.
Put your body about more. Yeah.
Definitely.
Winning that ball back. You know,
definitely. And he gives us something that we've been calling out for in terms of a potential plan B that we didn't think we had. Today we showed that we maybe do.
This live stream is just going to be waxing lyrical about players because why not?
Exactly.
We've beaten City on penalties. I do like this. Jason Mason says plastic plate award. Well, have you lifted it? I just don't know how you know it's plastic.
Yeah, there's that. And look, what I would say is that before this, we were all saying that we don't necessarily place credence on this the same way that we do other honours, but this was important because of the psychology behind it and the fact that we were up against the best team in the world. So I'm actually taking a lot more from the fact that we did City in a competitive cup final at Wembley, or not cup final, but a competitive trophy contested final at Wembley.
Yeah.
And you're quite literally talking about people that do not lose. They win everything. They just came off the treble.
You know what I find really funny as well is when people go, yeah, they're behind in pre-season. So the difference between second place in the league and treble winners is a week of pre-season.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I think is that what you're all telling me?
Yeah.
Like, Arsenal should always have won this game because we've had a game. I agree we should look more prepped. I agree we should look more fit, but we had the better chances today. This wasn't us hanging on for dear life, and almost how we have beaten City in previous Wembley games, both times with Pep Guardiola. Actually, it was a defence job, it was a back five job, it was a whatever. This was us trying to play our football, but being pragmatic and careful and clever about picking our moments, pressing smartly, all that. I can't wait to talk about it on a tactical show tomorrow. But I just think, is that the difference? Just a little bit of pre-season prep, really?
I mean, you're talking about, as you said, treble winners, but you're also talking about arguably the greatest manager of all time coming up against someone where, I mean, he's in his first managerial job.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, you really can't assert that a week of pre-season or whatever is the difference maker. Put simply.
And don't get me wrong. Do I think City were at their best today? No. Do I think they'll go up levels throughout the season? Yes.
So will we.
But this is right. This is it. I think we have levels to go. And also, I thought City looked quite sharp today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look.
I thought they played some really good football.
First 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I looked at you and said,
really.
Does the pre-season look like it matters now? No, they were at it.
Yeah.
They were at it. And even when they were 1-0 up, they were at it in terms of pressing us and so forth. Look, we had a bit of fortune with the goal, but you don't get that fortune if you're not in their box in the last 5. We went for it, and we created our own luck. I know it's cliche. Kept ourselves in with a shot, and look what happened.
But fortune, you can spin that how you want. Are they lucky that Havertz completely scuffs it when it's really there to just be tucked away? But
are we lucky that Foden's shot hits Aaron Ramsdale on the inside of the heel and then goes wide? I mean, look, there's small margins when you're playing at elite level.
But this is it. This is fine margins. And the thing is, I'm not trying to get too greedy now. We didn't beat City in 90 today. We did it over penalties. No, listen, that's not like a cross next to Arsenal. That is, fair play. You won the Shield today. What I think Liverpool did that gave a major belief, and I'm not sitting here saying we need to slap up Man City, but they had performances where they really blew them away, where you saw Man City and they looked like they couldn't cope. Pep Guardiola's losing it on the touchline and the players look suffocated, like how it feels. That must be what they do to other teams. And so I'm not saying we need that blow them away performance, today or even this season to necessarily win the league, but I think the next step is, can we do something that really makes them uncomfortable? I think today they'll walk away, go fine margins, okay, fair play, they've improved and they're getting there.
I'd say there were 15 or 20 minutes where we did make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, 25 to 45.
Back end of the first half, I think that was probably the most sustained spell of pressure, and I thought that we looked the far better team for that period.
I completely agree. Let's talk about, someone's just mentioned the defence. MK for Life says Arsenal are getting better in defence. I'm also impressed by Timber, much more respect. Arsenal's defending has been woeful all pre-season.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's done the last 2 days.
And back end of last season, it wasn't great.
Yes, I don't know what he's done all pre-season, but we didn't look like, apart from the goal, we didn't look like we were going to get cut through today, and that's against the team that are the best at picking out pockets and doing what they do. Fair play. That was a really defensively sound performance. There's a player rating. I'm going to give you all a little spoiler. What I said on Saliba. Let me just. Got it here. Saliba. He was unreal today. Players out of areas no player should even attempt, but he did. He is. I know everyone was brilliant and everyone's going to get their moment. I think this guy's going to be the best centre back in the world in the coming years. I know that might be wild, but I really believe he's that good. I
don't think anyone can cuss you out for saying that. And what you say about playing out of those areas, it's one thing to play out of the areas, but playing out of those areas when you have those players around you, when you're looking at Rodri around you, Erling Haaland around you, you're looking at a serious, pressing, aggressive team. And to have the strength and the nous. Do you remember that little foot race that he had with Haaland? And it was one-on-one. There was no one to help him. And we're all sitting there going, oh shit. He's behind Haaland, manages to get neck and neck, uses his body to marshal it, buy himself a bit of time, lets his boys get back in. That is the mark of a player. Honestly, I'd expect a player to have had 5 to 7 years at the top level to show that level of nous and to be able to marshal a man that I would call the best striker in the world right now.
Yeah.
But he did it, and he's done it at an age where I was hungover at uni, mate.
he denies, it's true. He's at 22. Yeah, it was looking rough. But it's the fact that they denied Haaland a single shot on goal. It's the fact that when he needed to put his body on the line, he put his body on the line. We need to win headers, he won headers. And then when there wasn't anywhere to go, he plays like, I want to phrase this right. If you watch football with someone who doesn't watch football, and they might go, well, why doesn't he just take the ball there?
Yeah.
And you go, it's not that easy.
Yeah, of course.
But Saliba's like, De Bruyne is there, I'm being pressed. If Foden's there, so I can't cut back. I'll just dart in between them. I'm stronger than them.
Zinni said the same. Zinni said the same in that interview he did with Rio. When he was asked about Saliba, he said, look, this guy quite literally just does things and takes risks that you would never advise a centre-back to take. But he does it because he backs himself.
Yeah.
And he does it well. And I think, really, that's something that Arteta has instilled in this team is you cannot be afraid to make mistakes.
Sorry, carry on, because I want to jump. Well, one of the things I loved from that first 15 minutes where we were actually getting outplayed was I saw quite a few players have moments where they've just said to the team, I believe in myself. Partey had a moment where he's facing back, he's being pressed, he's just won it back, and he just almost scoops it inside and he's facing forward, and then he plays that pass. And Saliba did it with that pass into Odegaard that you think, oh my god, I couldn't even see that, and he's nailed it. Martinelli getting round Walker, Saka getting round Akanji.
Odegaard did it loads. Timber did it loads.
Yeah. Even Havertz was some of his touches away from Rodri. And what they started saying to the rest of the team was, I believe in myself, I can pull this off.
Even Ramsdale, we thought he held on to it for far too long on a couple of occasions. He probably did. But again, he backed himself, he took the risk, and he executed the pass. There was one shaky moment in that where he gave the ball away towards the end, but even then, his teammates bailed him out. This
is what I was saying on the watch along. Damien says, why are Arsenal fans acting like they played amazing and dominated the game? The game was dull. Who knows where all that injury time came from? Damien, who do you support? Let us know in the comments who you support. I said on the watch along that there'll be two different types of football fans. Some will watch that and go, that was really dull, totally unentertaining. And I get that. I really get that. And there'll be the other people who go, tactically fascinating. Look how Rice pressed up the pitch. Look at what they did. Stones didn't come into midfield as much, so there was a little bit less coming with the 4-4-2 and Alvarez and Haaland there. Partey battle was fascinating as well. Havertz leading the line. And I think a lot of people would watch that and go, this is just really interesting to see how the teams, and I think they neutralise themselves. I think both teams just didn't want to give too much that way, so they didn't want to overcommit too much that way, and actually just hit a bit of a stalemate. And you can say we didn't play great, we didn't dominate the game. Who in the last 4, 5, 6 months has done anything close to that to City? Inter Milan had good chances in their game.
Yeah, but again, I mean, they didn't really dictate the course of a half.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. At no point did I think, oh, we can't compete here. First 10-15 minutes were looking sticky, I thought. But then I realised that was more my nerves. And actually Arsenal were marshalling them fairly well. It's that Ben White header and the Alvarez chance. I think if they score that in the first 10 minutes, then maybe it's looking a bit tough because they started well.
I agree. I mean, I personally got worried when they made their subs. And they took Haaland off, they brought De Bruyne on. Cole Palmer found himself in lots of space. That's when, for me, the tide turned. And that ultimately is where they got their goal. Now, whether that's because of a moment of brilliance from Cole Palmer or whether that's because of our defensive frailties, I would actually suggest that, one, Partey shouldn't have been on a booking. And the fact that he was on a booking meant that he didn't really commit to the challenge, and that's where they break out. And then I said it on the watch along. Look, I love Kieran Tierney, but I have to be overly critical of that because there were, in my opinion, 3 opportunities there where he could have stopped that.
Yeah.
Right. But other than that, I really can't think of a sustained period.
Yeah.
We do very well after going behind to get ourselves back in it. And again, it shows that Arteta can turn the tide of a game.
Yep, I completely agree. Damien's come back. Let's be real, shouldn't even be in the Community Shield. It's only because City can't play themselves that you even got in it. Damien, I appreciate you supporting the channel and thank you for your comments. I actually agree with you. I actually think, really, if I'm making the rules, second place shouldn't be in the Community Shield. But what do you want me to do? Reinvent? You know what? We shouldn't even be here.
Yeah, should we not bother turning up?
Yeah.
Should we not bother? What I would say about that is there's a lot of people arguing that if the FA Cup winner can't be in it, the Carabao Cup winner should be in it. Mm-hmm. What was harder last year? Man United's run to win that Carabao Cup, or what we had to do to finish second to Manchester City?
Well, we did. Yeah.
Who is the team that everyone said was by a country mile the second best team in the country last year? Arsenal Football Club. Mm-hmm. What the neutrals got to watch today were last year's number 1 and number 2 domestically up against each other, and I think ultimately that is the right answer.
Listen, I agree with you. I understand. I probably would give it to the Carabao Cup winners just so they can all flex their trophies and all that, but I think you're right. For the sake of a better game, I guess that second place thing works more. Look, Liverpool are in it. I didn't hear anywhere near as much moaning and complaining about Liverpool finishing second and being in it. Probably because they'd won the Champions League.
Yeah. Look, I get it.
But yeah, it just is what it is. That's just the world we live in. Arsenal, I don't know why. There's always a little bit more eyes on us.
And there are a lot more now because we're doing well.
Jax asks, Timble's so good. Will he block Zinchenko left back? I think no, but I don't see... I think Timble's going to play a lot of football in this team.
Yeah, and I've said this to you so many times, and I'm conscious of repeating myself, but elite clubs don't really sit there and say, I can't necessarily buy this level of quality because it might block the trajectory of another player. We cannot do that anymore. Manchester City don't do that. Mm-hmm. Was anyone sitting there today going, how's Nathan Ake going to feel because he didn't start the Community Shield?
Yeah.
No one cares, because eventually the opportunity over the course of a long, intense, highly competitive season will arise where you need these players.
Raymond asks a really good question. He says, please just remember that City lost this game last season too. Raymond, you're spot on. Yeah. None of us have sat here and gone, we're favourites for the league now. Yeah. Well, I suddenly... By the way, I believed before this game we were going to win the title, so it's got nothing to do with this game that I believe we can, but I believe we will. I said that before. I said it, I think, on Forever Arsenal, but I've already said it. Yeah, none of us are sitting here going, well, that's the proof we needed. I just said we haven't beaten them over 90 still.
It's about, for me, it's always been about closing the gap on them.
Yeah.
What Nick was saying on the watch along, we used to hold 4 and 5. Yeah. Well, frankly, today we held 1, kept the best striker in the world so quiet that he had an XG of 0. Manchester City had an XG of 0.2 in the first half, you were saying, and we go on and we win at Wembley. I mean, the reality is, if any team did that, you would have to say that they are in contention to be up there next season, and that, as an Arsenal fan, is what we've been crying out for God knows how long. Yeah. And that's what gets you excited for a season. And that's what gives players and managers and teams that element of leeway when things don't necessarily go your way.
Yeah, completely agree. Shiroi, I know you got to head off, but a big thank you for joining us.
Thank you. That was so fun. Honestly, that was so fun.
Today was good. Today was a good day. We hope you all enjoyed it as well. We believe we might have Laurie Lyle in the building. If we do, great.
We do. I can see him. I can see him.
We can see him
in the fluorescent yellow kit.
The final players. Safe journey. Big round of applause for Shiroi. Everyone in the comments, show your love to Shiroi.
And love to everyone in the comments.
Go support his channel as well, Shiroi's Voice on YouTube. Content coming very soon. Laurie's going to join me now. We're going to go through the super chats and then end on some final thoughts as well. We've got Dave John super chats. Amar says, City players and staff were joking and laughing at the end. Just a meaningless friendly. Arsenal must do this in October when it counts. Amar, yes, we must do it in October, but this is the thing. You've just lost the community.
Salty.
Of course you can do the whole, haha, it's a bit of fun.
You know what makes me laugh about comments like that? Had we have lost, that person, I'm assuming it's a non-Arsenal fan.
Maybe it's an Arsenal fan that doesn't place much report on the camera.
Okay, even if it was an Arsenal fan, if we had lost that game, that person's reaction would have been very different. So come on now. At the end of the day, you saw what it meant to City. I mean, you saw Kyle Walker celebration, you saw Pep's celebrations, you saw the way Man City were going on when they thought they'd won. And look, they look gutted to lose. It's a high-profile game. There's a trophy on the line. We won the game. We've got nothing to feel embarrassed about. I don't think we over-celebrated. I think that's key as well.
Am I missing something, right? I thought everyone, comment section, everyone I speak to, I thought everyone wanted rivalries back. Everyone was talking, we long for the Wenger-Ferguson days. We want rivalries. So
but don't let these people victim shame you into enjoying the win, because they're not going to do that with me.
My point is, so if you are proper rivals with someone, we want to be City's rivals. We don't want to be their little brothers, you know, thanks for taking our players and our other coach. We want to be their rivals.
Absolutely.
So to be their rivals, we got to love beating them.
Of course, yeah.
You got to want to beat them no matter
good day.
What. And yes, there'll be handshakes and the odd cuddle at the end and a well done and all that. But I love that I'm seeing City fans on Twitter go, yeah, well, it doesn't matter, because that tells me
exactly.
that it bothers them.
It does, yeah.
But that's great. I live for that. It's been so long since Arsenal have been relevant at all. I'm not saying winning a Community Shield suddenly makes us super relevant, but I do think coming second, having challenged for the title, and then going to City and coming away with whatever prize is there, go to Wembley and coming away with whatever prize is there against City, I think these are good things. So I think.
Listen, I spoke at the top of our watch along show, and thanks by the way to all the people who tuned in and watched that. Enough respect to you, appreciate your support. But I spoke at the top of that show, James. You'll remember saying that one of the things I'm looking forward to with this Community Shield game was the fact that at the moment I see a burgeoning rivalry between us and City. I genuinely do see that. In the next couple of years, you might see a rivalry between us and City that's kind of on the level, maybe not quite as much as us and Tottenham, but, or maybe us and Man United, but just beneath that, certainly. You know what I mean? So listen, it's a good thing.
I agree.
And it's been a very good day. I would say it's a great day, because it wasn't a great...
It's not some great day in Arsenal's history.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been a very good day. I've loved it.
It's a good day.
It's great fun. Bring on the Premier League.
Exactly. It wasn't a great game, but it was a very good result for us. And when you consider it in the context of things moving forward, what it means to the club in terms of how we approach the season, listen, excellent day.
I think we learned a lot of really good things about the team as well today. There are 6,000 of you watching. Hit the like button. It was only 577 likes. Hit the likes, get it to 1,000. And I'm going to check in on some of you, because I said that I wanted that watch along to get to, was it 5,000? Let me. I told you I wasn't going to forget. Let's have a little look. Let's make sure that I've muted everything. How many likes did I get to? 4.2 thousand. Not
Come on,
bad.
man.
Get it all up.
Smash the Lizzie button.
Right. Havertz was missing chances, but when Foden missed, it was a good save. Come on, says Ian. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I'd also... You always look at it from your club's perspective, right? Foden should have scored, but I'm just focused on the fact that Ramsdale's kept us in it late in the game. At 0-0, when City aren't going to give you many chances, I'm just hoping Havertz can bury it. So, there's perspective, but you're right.
Listen, you talk about Foden. His work for City's goal, that little shimmy he did and getting away from Partey.
Yeah, it was very good.
That was brilliant. He set up that goal for City. I thought he looked very bright when he come on.
He did.
Okay, he maybe he should have scored, but he didn't. This is football, you know what I mean? Havertz should have scored twice, and he didn't. But we're not going to hold that too much against him.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
I thought he played really well otherwise.
Yeah.
Ollie says the key to this season will be squad rotation. We can't play Saka every league and cup game again. We have the players. Do we have squad stamina? Yeah, I agree.
I think the same applies for a lot of players.
Yeah.
Which is why the manager's been doing his best to strengthen the squad and will continue to do so.
Jax says Timber was so good. Willie blogs in, he left out. We didn't mention that, sorry. Abdullah says lots of positives. The most important is that winning feeling. We can build on this and start a good run ahead. Only negative is KT. He's now the fourth in line at left back for me. Yeah,
never underestimate what a winning a trophy. And listen, you know, fans out there, maybe even some of our own fans I don't know, consider it as a lightly regarded trophy, but don't underestimate the positive vibe that brings. You know what I mean?
I agree.
The energy that brings can only help lift the club. It's definitely not a negative. You know what I mean?
So, I agree. Jax says Saliba kept Haaland quiet. So did Gabriel.
Yeah.
Our defence was incredible. Gabriel was solid. You mentioned him. Well done. Gabriel was solid. Timber was man of the match for me.
I thought so.
Laurie too.
And I think if it wasn't Timber, did he say Saliba was man of the match?
Timber man of the match.
Timber the man of the match.
He said Saliba and Gabriel.
I could not believe. Let me ask you, when don't get me wrong, it was a great goal he scored. Cole Palmer for Man City. He looks a good player, by the way. I've heard a lot of good things about him, and today come on, took his goal very well. Got around the pitch well. Good player. Good player. Looks like he's going to be a very good player. That being said, though, I couldn't understand now that Arsenal went on to win the game that he would have been anointed man of the match.
I know what you mean. Now, they give that too early.
Yeah.
They should really be giving it as the referee's about to blow his whistle.
Exactly, yeah.
I agree. He got the goal because I think they sort of thought, well, it's done, isn't it? That's a win.
Yeah, exactly.
But actually,
I think that the way their rationale behind that was it was a great goal to win a game that, let's be honest, didn't have too many incidents.
Yes, I think that's exactly.
So I can understand it in a way, but up until that point, man, Timber had been the best player on the pitch for me. What do you think? And if not him, Saliba.
Timber, Saliba, Partey.
Yeah.
Was blown away by all three of them. I thought they were brilliant. Ash says, did you see Pep's reaction to the first goal? Big game. We did see it. I saw
his reaction all through the match. He was animated. He wanted to win. He was sweating profusely in that white shirt. And he didn't get the result that he wanted. And listen, maybe not hurting, but he'll be disappointed with not winning today. Yeah. I wouldn't say he'll be going away crying or hurting or, slumped in a corner feeling sorry for himself. But he'll be reflecting on that game. He knows that there's things they could have done better, and ultimately they didn't win it.
Yeah. White Glove says Havertz was on target. Stop saying missed chances. Yeah, but you're being pedantic with all due respect.
Yeah, he is.
Didn't score.
And let's not make too much of it because, like as James said, he apart from not scoring, he did have a very good game.
I was really happy with his performance.
Yeah, so
I really was.
That also needs to be taken into consideration.
Okay, so as we approach the end of the day, check out all the fan cams, check out the player ratings on the Arsenal website, check out the player ratings that will come out probably tomorrow morning on AFTV as well. Check out all the content from, and I'll go back and watch the watch along, hit the like button on this. If you're only joining this late, go back to the beginning, watch it all. We are covering it all here, and the boys are at Wembley as well. I wanted to just now look ahead very quickly to Nottingham Forest. If I were to describe our pre-season, and I'm going in order of games, Nuremberg poor, MLS All-Stars good, Man United poor, Barcelona good, Monaco poor, Man City good. We've been very stop-start.
It's been a mixed bag.
But luckily there's no more football to be played till Saturday, and now the boys can hopefully just rest on this, take stock of what they've done this pre-season, take a load of positives. Fabio Vieira's gone from missing a pen to bagging his next two all in one pre-season.
And let's be honest as well, he scored a really good goal. Who was it against? Is it the final?
Barcelona.
Yeah, that shot. Yeah.
Actually,
there's a player in there. There is a player.
No, I really believe there's a player in there. But can I say one last thing? If you asked me to design the perfect shootout, who misses for City and who wins it for Arsenal, it would have been Vieira to win it because he missed the one against United.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of sort of heat and everything, and it would be De Bruyne and Rodri. I actually like a lot of City's players. I genuinely do.
Me too.
I have a lot of respect for Guardiola and a lot of their players, but Rodri, who my word shouldn't even be on the pitch taking a penalty, and that seems to be the case every game, and his antics at the Emirates a while ago. Listen, I know if you have him, you love him, and he's an unbelievable footballer. Delighted he missed, and De Bruyne, because he's just been the nemesis of Arsenal. Yeah, one of the greatest midfielders.
And he's been quick to remind us of that as well.
One of the greatest midfielders England, the Premier League in England has ever seen. Without question, I put him up there with anyone I've watched. But I'm so glad he missed. I really don't like him.
Yeah, well,
there you go.
You pay your money, you take your choice with these players. But you're right. I mean, City have got an abundance of top quality players, and we respect City, and I'm sure City respect Arsenal, and I'm looking forward to us going head to head with them this season, because I do think,
and the rest.
Yep, I do think it's going to be a close competitive league this season. I don't think City are going to run away with it. I don't think we're going to run away with it. I don't think anyone's going to run away with it. And I would also say that, forget about Arsenal and City for 1 minute. I think that the competitiveness will filter up and back down the league this season. It won't be, I don't think you'll see too many teams just beat up on other teams. Maybe a couple of the teams are coming up, but you know what I'm saying? I think the level of competitiveness in the Premier League this season will be strong.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure of that, because if you look at the teams, everyone's signing players and doing their best to enhance and strengthen and stuff like that. And I just get the impression that this season is going to be very competitive.
I hope so. Can't read. I'm gonna end on a cooling moment, which is we can't read too much into one-off game, and there's a lot of football to be played, and we're going to learn a lot about this Arsenal team in the coming weeks. But you want the signs to point in the right direction, and they are. And
they are.
Listen, football is so full of toxicity and hatred towards this, and tribalism and anger and whatever. Well, you want us to not enjoy. I've just scrolled through Twitter. The amount of salty fans whose teams are nowhere near this kind of competition or this moment because they're not good enough are all crying and Arsenal won the World Cup and Arsenal.
I guarantee you, though,
Chris
James,
Sutton just tweeted Arsenal won the World Cup, and it's just like, listen, give it a rest.
Well, he's a known agitator, Chris Sutton.
He's under my skin. He's done well.
He's very good at that sort of thing. He's a real troll. Actually, I don't mind Chris Sutton. Actually, I think he's an all right pundit. But I see what you're trying to do, Chris Sutton. But listen,
let's enjoy.
Exactly. The mere fact that these
the
fans are acting in such a salty fashion suggests to me that deep down they're really envious of that we won today. And listen, we're not getting carried away. I certainly not, and I know you're not. I've known you a long time. I know what you're like. But at the same time, this is a very good day, and it gives us optimism for the start of the season. We've got a very important match next week, opening game against Forest, who beat us last year and drew with us, so that's not going to be an easy game.
Yeah.
Even if it is at home, and we're coming off the back of what has been a good day today, make no mistake, Forest will be, tough opponents. We respect them. But having said that, based on what I'm seeing and the vibe, the energy, I'm hoping for a good result.
Too.
And I think we'll get one too.
I'm going to round off the stream in just a sec, but Bass Manual Music says, James, please talk more about Trossard. Man's a beast. And there's a lot of comments from Charlotte King about Timber being class. Timber, though, says Florian. Yeah, we haven't given them enough airtime, but trust me, we've talked about them in other fan cams and the watching and all that. All I will say is I'm going to answer those by answering this final super chat from Jax as well. Question for Laurie and James: what would your 11 be for Forest? P.S. Does James like the Arsenal top that Laurie is wearing? Listen, it's better than it used to be.
It looks better on me, innit? Come on.
It looks good on you. I'll give you that. No, I still don't like it.
You don't
if I'm
like
really
it?
honest.
Okay.
But
you know what? You know what it is, right? I
like
like this top. I mean, a lot of people have said to me things like, "Oh, it's growing on me. I think I'll go and get one." But I'm going to keep it real, yeah. The first time I saw it advertised, I liked it straight away. It's very different, isn't it?
Good on you.
And I like the colour schemes on it. And I just thought, you know what I like about it? It probably looks better as a casual shirt to wear on the road, as we say, rather than a football top.
Do you think?
Per se, yeah.
You wear that on the road?
Yeah, all the time. And everyone likes it, even non-Arsenal fans say, yeah, man, I like it.
You might end up diverting traffic by accident. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just put this on, you got your jeans or your shorts on, the Air Force Ones or whatever you want to do, and it's all good, man.
Fair enough. Patrick says, James, you and the refs will keep the same standard throughout the season they did today. Quick question, they have to. I didn't like a lot of the refereeing today.
I heard a lot of talk about the refs, and I'm going to say this, listen, man, referees, it's a bit of a mixed bag. The refereeing today wasn't great, but as I said to my man James here, I didn't think it was material in the result. In other words, what I'm saying is, we wasn't denied any like goal scoring opportunities or goals, or they were sending offs and stuff like. Yes, he could have clamped down on the fouls a bit earlier, and some people will say, yes, had he have done that, then it might have been a slightly different game. But I never got the impression that the referee had lost control of the game. I didn't think the referee was favouring any one side, which are things that you look for when a ref's having a really bad day. So it wasn't a top performance by the referee, but it certainly didn't impinge upon the result as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. And on that final bit, you mentioned, Jax, about the starting 11. Mine would be today's 11, but I'd have Trossard for Havertz. You got to get Trossard in that team, and I think they'll have quite a low block for us a lot of that game. We're going to need that intricacy. I think that is what we get out of Trossard. Going to end on this comment from Toyosi.
I wouldn't argue with what you said there. I think you could make a case for Eddie starting. I thought Eddie looked industrious. He looked sharp when he come on. Listen, whoever starts is probably not going to end the game. I think it's fair to say that. So I'm happy with the team, though.
Fair. I may have just seen your last minute super chat. Do we need a striker? Scored 85 goals last season. I agree. Let's get Ryan. I think the squad's in a great place. I'm going to end the stream on this comment. Well done to Laurie today. Fantastic on the watch, and go check out all the fan cams coming out as well.
Call me Nostradamus.
And Toyosi says, we are the kings of Wembley. We'll be back for Carabao, FA Cup, and the big one in June. You know what's being hosted in June, yeah? At Wembley. That's all I'll say. Come on, you Gunners, he says. And we'll be back we'll be back tomorrow with content. But we'll be back next week for the kickoff of the Premier League season.